this meeting to order. Welcome, everyone. Will you please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Secretary, will you please take roll?
Chair Burton,
Present.
Commissioner Puppy, Commissioner Ragsdale. Here. Commissioner Kupsik,
Here.
Vice Chair Damasio,
Here.
Commissioner Bassler,
Here.
Commissioner Trupiano,
Here.
Alternate Hester, Alternate Manuel,
Here.
Alternate Belshi, Alternate McDonald. We have Alternate Manuel seated for District 1.
Thank you. Item number 2, election of officers. The current chair and the vice chair were appointed late in 2024 in order to fill vacancies. The bylaws require that the annual appointment of a chair and vice chair during the annual meeting to be held at the first regular meeting of the calendar year or as soon thereafter as possible. The nomination and appointment of a chair will be first, and the nomination and the appointment of a vice chair will follow. May I have nominations for the office of chair, please?
I would nominate Ted Burton for the chair.
I will second that nomination.
It has been so moved,
Moved and seconded.
it's been seconded, second. I'm honored. It's been second.
Call for the vote.
Any discussion? Call for the vote?
All in favor?
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. The ayes have it. Any opposed?
You can beat the, yeah.
Thank you. I'm honored. I'm honored. Next is the appointment of the vice chair. Have a nomination for the vice chair.
I'd like to nominate Anthony Damasio for vice chair.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and second. Call for, I'm still,
Yeah.
all in favor? Aye. Get it together. Any opposed? Anthony, we're back in the saddle again. Well, thank you. And I really am humbled. Thank you very much. The minutes. Next on the agenda is the approval of minutes of the January 28th, 2025 Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting. Are there any edits to the meeting minutes? If not, may I have a motion?
Motion that we approve the minutes from the January 28th, 2025 Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next on the agenda, regular agenda item is item 4A, Miller and Hazen Multifamily Site Plan, PLZ SP-23-00013. Presentation by Mandy Woods, Senior Planner.
Good evening, members of the commission. My name is Mandy Woods, and I'm a senior planner with Development Services. And tonight I'm going to be presenting the Miller and Hazen multifamily site plan, which is case number PLZ SP 23-00013. For just some brief project overview information, the applicant on this one is Julie Vermillion with CBL on behalf of Hazen Road Nominee LLC, which is the owner. The location is at the northwest corner of Miller Road and Hazen Road. And the request tonight is for site plan approval of a 178-unit multifamily build-to-rent style residential community on approximately 17 acres. This slide right here shows the location of the subject parcel that is, the site plan is proposed for. Currently, the parcel is vacant. To the north is an additional multifamily project called Riverwood Apartments. Actual site plan in question does not comprise the entirety of the subject parcel, so Phase 2 is actually intended to occupy the northern portion of this parcel too. And then to the south is the Buckeye Equestrian and Events Center, and then the TAC room, and then there's vacant or agricultural land on either side of east and west of the subject parcel. The general plan land use designation of the subject property is neighborhood, and so the proposed development is consistent with the land use designation of the property. For zoning, the existing zoning is mixed residential, and MR does permit the proposed use, which is family. Just some data before I share the overall site plan. Overview, it's 178 units. All duplex units. There's 56 one-bedroom units, 82 bedroom units, and then 42 three-bedroom units, so pretty good mix of different bedroom units in the project. Proposed density is just over 10 dwelling units per acre, which is well below the maximum that is permitted in MR. And then it's a combination of 1- and 2-story duplex buildings, plus an amenity clubhouse and a leasing office, kind of in the central location of the property. And then all parking is compliant with development code requirements. Ooh, I feel like the mic just picked up on me more.
It did kick in. Right?
Okay, do you need me to speak louder? Because I certainly can.
Please do.
Okay. Yeah, don't be shy telling me to speak up. I apologize. So this is just the site plan overview. I'll zoom in on the next slide, but this shows you the entirety in the proper north-south orientation. And then I'm also zooming in on the unit configurations. These are just kind of the standard footprints of the 1-bedroom, the 2-bedroom, and the 3-bedroom duplex units. And each unit you can see has a 10-foot private rear backyard, basically, that's accompanying each unit. And this is the site plan. It's been rotated so that way north points right, so that way it would fit on the slide a little bit better. And then the primary access, I'm highlighting with the green arrow there, it's from Miller Road. Secondary access is that, I guess it's orange, isn't it? It's from Hazen Road, and then there is an emergency DG access that goes to the west, which is that red arrow at the top of the screen there. And then in red outlines, I'm highlighting all of the gated entries that are on the site. There's ample room for queued vehicles as they enter into the site. So there's no circulation or backup issues. Visitors that are accessing the leasing office are able to access that leasing office without having to get gate access. They can actually park. And then there is a centrally located community clubhouse, the leasing office, a pool, and a dog park that I've just outlined in blue. And then there is a future Phase 2 that I had alluded to earlier. It is anticipated to be to the north. Right now, there is no cross-access that's going to be provided between Phase 1 and Phase 2. But there is a stipulation that if, for whatever reason, Phase 2 is unable to provide the required points of access that it will need to meet all city requirements, then it would indeed need to provide cross-access between these phases. And that, I'm just highlighting that area right there because that's the most logical point of connection that cross-access would go if it were to be required at Phase 2. For landscaping and open space, both the open space provided and the usable open space that's provided both exceed the development code requirements. There's turf provided throughout the project in more high visibility locations, and they are more for active open play areas. The plant palette is generally low water use plants and shade trees throughout the project. And then there's approximately 300 square feet plus or minus of that private open space per unit that I highlighted on the unit layout earlier that showed that kind of private rear yard. Excuse me. And this is just an overview, just to kind of see the massing of all the different plantings that are proposed on the project. But I'll zoom in on one of the key areas, which is that centrally located clubhouse, pool, picnic area, and fire pit, and also that centrally located dog park in the center of the project. And I already highlighted there's turf of varying sizes scattered throughout the project, just in one spot. And then there's barbecue areas with grills and picnic tables. There's various types of seating areas. So there's a lot of, I guess, equity in terms of making sure that there's access to different amenities for different age groups throughout the project. I'm not going to show every single elevation that was provided with the P&Z packet, but I'm going to try to highlight kind of all of the different styles and color schemes. They are proposing a variety of architectural styles. Desert Modern, which uses some really cool sort of contemporary angular roof lines that you can see on the clubhouse here. There's also some Spanish elevations and farmhouse elevations as well. The movement and the articulation and the material variety, all of those meet or even exceed our development code requirements in terms of design. And then they are providing 6 color schemes, which I'm going to kind of show examples of each throughout the next few slides. It's also exceeding our standards as well. This is just some of the elevations for the leasing office, kind of a similar style as the clubhouse. These are some of the front elevations for the building type 1. Again, some of the elevations, front elevations for type 2. And this is the only 2-story building type, which is building 3, and these are some of the elevations that are provided. I believe there are 3 color schemes provided for each building type, though. For utilities, infrastructure, and services, the developer, of course, is responsible for any water and sewer infrastructure improvements per the reports that were submitted with the site plan. The developer will construct any required half-street improvements. There was a TIA that was reviewed and submitted with this project. I don't believe it's been approved yet, but all final requirements of that TIA are going to be reflected on any civil permitting. And then there's evenly distributed dumpster enclosures in a loop pattern for easy access. The project will accommodate any drainage in accordance with the submitted drainage report. And property, of course, will be serviced by city fire and police. That, our recommendation is to approve PLZ SP 23-00013, subject to conditions A through V in the staff report. The following reasons, in that it furthers goals of the general plan, it conforms to all code requirements, and there's no outstanding issues from any of the reviewing departments. And I'm happy to answer any questions. The applicant is present. I think Julie is present online, and then Matt is also here in the audience, so if there's any questions that I'm unable to answer, I will definitely defer to them. But otherwise, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mandy. Would the applicants like to speak?
They did not have a presentation planned, but they're happy to answer questions.
Thank you. Start on the commission. Sebastian.
Yeah, got a question about the half-street improvement. This is being done in 2 phases, correct?
The only phase 1 is approved at this time, so phase 2 hasn't even been considered or reviewed. That's going to be a separate submittal. But yes, it is anticipated that there will be a second phase of this same project type.
So I'm assuming they're only going to do the half-street improvement from Hazen up to where phase 1 ends.
I believe that is the case. I can look at how the STIP is written. I think that they could require more than that. That's how I would interpret it, correct?
Okay. And then the Riverside, was it Riverside Apartments or the apartments to the north? That's only got a single lane too. So we're going to be stuck with a little scallop there, which is one of the biggest complaints we get. So I'm just a little worried about that. I know it's the way it is, but I just wanted to make a point of that. And to the west, you said there was an emergency exit to the west. It's a field. Are emergency vehicles going to be able to?
It's anticipated for when that project is built, it will connect to that. But, I mean, there's already 2 points of access that are provided with the project right now, and they fulfill the requirements that are needed.
Okay. And, well, we'll have to wait for phase 2 to come in, so.
I think it's a timing thing, plus the TIA isn't approved yet, so there will be, you know, if there are any conditions or requirements that come out of the TIA, they will be reflected on the final.
The
construction
scallop
drawings.
one is the big one, so.
No, that makes sense.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Mr. Bassler.
Mine is more of a general question, and that is, does the city have a plan on how many multifamily units that this city can afford to have in the central part of downtown Buckeye? Is there a plan?
I let you answer that.
Chair, Commissioner Bassler, no, there's not a number cap of any sort of type of units, whether that's single family or multifamily in the city.
Okay,
Those numbers are driven by appropriateness of the use in a particular location, also by utility availabilities in terms of water and sewer and those types of things.
okay. It just seems like we're getting an awful lot of requests now for multifamily housing. And sometime we're going to get overburdened with multifamilies. And so that's why I asked if there was a city plan in regards to that. Thank you.
Mr. Damasio.
You mentioned utilities. I just have a general question. It mentions in one of the conditions that they have to underground any overhead existing lines over the property. Is that the desire for the city moving forward, is to underground rather than relocate?
I believe so. Yes, and that's just a standard stipulation
Okay.
in our code. Thank you, Todd.
Yeah, it is a code requirement, and that is for lines that are under 69 kV. So the big regional power lines, they can be undergrounded, but extremely costly to do so because they have to be air-cooled lines. So those would remain above, but all the what we call underbuilt or low voltage lines will be undergrounded moving forward, with the exception of smaller infill properties where that would be cost prohibitive, like in downtown, for instance. If you were developing a 20,000 square foot lot in downtown, we wouldn't have you underground that portion. The city would eventually come in and do all of that in a CIP project.
Okay, thank you, that's all.
Thank you.
I'm going to skip me for now. Ms. Cupsack.
I like the duplex thing, and I like the parking is all fairly close to each individual unit, so I like those. But that's just my only comment, thank you. Oh, and to address the multifamily concerns, we have Riverwood was the last one built, and that was like in the year 2000 before we started building them now, and so we were severely lacking in multifamily residential areas. And about, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, Buckeye was named the #1 city in the United States for home ownership, and I chalk that up to our lack of multifamily also. So just to add on to what you guys said. Thank you.
And we are, I just want to put it on the record that staff doesn't support multifamily in any location whenever it's proposed. We do work with developers on finding appropriate locations, and in this particular case, it's adjacent to existing multifamily. It's, in our opinion, very, very appropriate here, and the zoning allows for it, of course.
Ms. Ragsdale.
And this is not affordable housing or low-income housing?
Not to my knowledge. I think I'll let the applicant correct me if I'm incorrect on that, though.
Thank you.
Mr. Manuel?
I've got no question. I was just going to comment that the drawings of the elevations, I really like the way that looked. That was kind of neat looking. And I do like the location down there.
Thank you.
I have one more question. I'm going to channel my inner Sean Banda. And are the architectural details will be on all sides, so viewing from the street will still be attractive, or?
Yes.
Okay. Take my Sean Banda hat off then.
Proud.
They look great to me. I even like the color.
Red?
No.
Color's nice.
That drainage that's across the street from there, that concerns me, because even when I come out of the Equestrian Center, even not having a drink or anything, I'm nervous. Or about falling into that ditch. I don't know why. I mean, maybe it's the California baby in me, I don't know, but that big wide thing makes me nervous. Can you speak to that? Will that be covered over?
I don't know for sure about how it's going to be covered over, but I can say that Civil did a thorough drainage review on it, and they have many stipulations regarding. Perfect.
Could you come up to the podium, please, sir?
To the microphone.
I was going to go back to the plan, but I think I'll just leave it.
Just state your name for us, please.
I'm Matthew Nollick. I'm the civil engineer for the project with CBL Consultants. So as far as the drainage is concerned on the north side of Hazen Road there, so that's part of the irrigation for the neighboring properties, and we are working with the Buckeye Water Conservation and Drainage District to underground that irrigation ditch in a pipe and then make sure it continues to serve all of the neighboring properties it's supposed to.
I just need a bridge to go over it or something. Something that,
It was, once we build the roads out too, there'll be plenty of road to drive on as well, so.
thank you. That is all that I have, all the questions from me. Let's put this to a motion. All those in favor? No? Oh, I'm sorry.
I would like to make a motion to approve PLZ SP-23-00013. Subject to conditions A through V, because, do I need to read all of it? Okay, that's enough.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 4B, Florio at Teravalis Village 2. Preliminary plat PLZ S23-00028. Jennifer Roseman, Planner 2.
I'm parched. Okay. You guys, is it working? It is, okay, sorry. Good evening, Chair, members of the Commission. My name is Jennifer Roseman, and I will be presenting tonight's item 4B of preliminary plat for Florio at Teravalis Village 2. The applicant is Josh Robinson with Collier's Engineering and Design, who submitted the preliminary plat on behalf of the property owner, which is Trillium Land Company LLC, and the developer, Howard Hughes. Subject property is located at the northwest corner of Sun Valley Parkway and Rosewood Avenue within the Teravalis development. The Teravalis development itself is a 3,029-acre master plan community that also consists of the former Douglas Ranch, CMP. And to provide some context across the villages, you can see Village 2, shown there in red. Village 1 is located to the north of the subject property, which does not have an approved preliminary plat, nor has it been submitted yet. Village Floor is to the west, which is also unplatted. No preliminary plat, nothing's been submitted yet. Village 3 is directly to the south. They do have a preliminary plat that is approved, and they're currently grading at this time and finishing off their civil permits. And they do have home builders in right now getting their design review done. And then to the east is outside of Florio, and it's currently vacant. The Trillium Community Master Plan has undergone several amendments since its establishment in 2004 to accommodate evolving development needs. The First Amendment in 2010 focused on land use, followed by the Second Amendment in 2016, which addressed circulation improvements. In 2021, the Third Amendment was introduced, which refined the development standards and relocated a school site. More recently, in March 2023, the Fourth Amendment brought significant changes, including the name change to Florio at Teravalis, along with updates to the signage, to the trails, parks, and land use. Most recently, the Fifth Amendment was submitted in July 2024. It's introducing entirely new elements to the CMP, including a land use budget, updated application processes, and the introduction of design standards. This amendment is currently moving through the approval process, and it is expected to come before you in the next month or two, maybe 3. It's already been, I'm sorry, City Council. That one's actually being postponed a bit for the development agreement. So that will go before City Council in the next month or two. Sorry about that. So the property is zoned planned community and falls within the Teravalis Community Master Plan overlay. And within the CMP, Village 2 is designated as medium-density residential with a target of 1,291 residential units and with a maximum allowance of 1,613 units with a gross density goal of 3.6 dwelling units per acre. The proposed preliminary plat for Village 2 includes 801 single-family residential lots, achieving a gross density of 3.47 dwelling units per acre, which aligns with the CMP's overall density framework. As for the target residential unit count, since parcels 1 and 2 are designated for future development, Village 2 has the opportunity to meet the CMP's anticipated unit count as build-out progresses. Therefore, the proposed preliminary plat remains in general conformance with the CMP's residential targets. Within Village 2, a diverse range of lot sizes have been thoughtfully integrated throughout the development, ranging from 4,400 square feet to 8,750 square feet. The smaller lot sizes are primarily located on the eastern side near Sun Valley Parkway, providing a denser residential layout. As you move west towards Wagner Wash, the lot sizes increase, creating a more spacious and open environment. This strategic distribution of lot sizes enhances the community's diversity, catering to a variety of homeowners while maintaining a cohesive and well-balanced neighborhood design. Building on the lot distribution strategy, this table details lot sizes, dimensions, and setbacks, ensuring a balanced mix of density and open space. Rear setbacks vary, with smaller lots at 10 feet and larger lots at 20 feet, providing more backyard space where possible. Front setbacks are adjusted based on garage placement, 10 feet for side entry garages and 18 feet for front-facing garages, helping to create a cohesive and functional streetscape. Side yard setbacks are also designed to maintain proper spacing between homes while ensuring a comfortable neighborhood feel. These development standards support a well-designed community that balances flexibility for homeowners with a consistent and visually appealing neighborhood layout. So the trails are strategically placed along key boundaries, including the northern edge adjacent to the drainage channel. the western perimeter following Wagner Wash, and the southern boundary along Channel V2-R4, which is the official name. These trails provide residents with scenic walking, jogging, and bike paths while integrating seamlessly with the surrounding landscape. The planned trail system will seamlessly connect residential areas to key community amenities, including 2 neighborhood parks and parcels 10 and 13. These parks will feature shade structures, fire pits, a dog park, basketball court, and playground equipment, creating inviting spaces for recreation and relaxation. In addition, parcel 7 will include a smaller pocket park with shaded gathering areas and turf, offering a natural play space for residents. A future neighborhood park is also proposed for parcel 1, while parcel 2 is planned to include a pocket park, both contingent on future residential development. If these parcels do not develop as residential, the planned parks will be relocated within future phases to ensure accessible green space for the community. And to throw some numbers out at you, the HOA maintained tracts to include the open space in the parks covers 57.89 acres. 10 acres are designated within that as active open space. Wagner Wash along the western boundary provides 12.92 acres of natural open space. In total, the development has 70.81 acres of open space, accounting for 19.91% of the subject plat. 20% is required, but the development of parcels 1 and 2 will ensure that Village 2 meets this requirement. So the monument signs will be incorporated throughout Florio to create a strong sense of identity and provide clear entry points into the community. The primary neighborhood entry monuments will be located along Sun Valley Parkway, while smaller parcel entry monuments will be marked by, will mark key access points within the development. These signs are designed with high-quality materials and landscaping to complement the overall aesthetic of the community. So parcel entry signs, where provided, will be positioned at select neighborhood entrances to enhance wayfinding and visibility. The monument at the main entry will feature a sleek, modern design with integrated lighting and surrounding greenery, reinforcing a welcome and cohesive streetscape. These elements collectively contribute to a well-branded and thoughtfully designed community. Village 2 will have 5 key access points to ensure smooth circulation and connectivity within the broader development. These include 1 entry from Sun Valley Parkway via Indigo Way, 2 connections to the north linking to the future Village 1 through 296th and 301st Avenues, and 2 connections to the south tying into the approved Village 3 via Indigo Way and 296th Avenue. The initial access will be provided by Sun Valley Parkway and Village 3, allowing for phased development and connectivity as the community grows. Major roadway improvements will include full right-of-way dedication and enhancements for Indigo Way, 296th Avenue, 301st Avenue, ensuring efficient traffic flow and accessibility for the residents. February 2024, the code was amended to eliminate notice requirements for preliminary plats. However, because the applicant submitted prior to the approval of the code amendment, the applicant was required to provide a notice of application to all the property owners within 300 feet, and they did so on January 2nd, 2024, and no formal comments were received by staff. The proposed preliminary plat is in conformance with the general plan, the Buckeye Development Code, and Florio at Teravalis CMP. The use is consistent with the character of the area and is not expected to disrupt the surrounding neighborhood. There are no outstanding issues with the other reviewing departments, and the development does represent an overall improvement to the city of Buckeye. Our request to you this evening is to approve item 4B, subject to conditions A through N. Staff is available for questions, and I apologize because I was late. The applicant? I have anybody here from Terravellis? Okay, the applicant is not here. I'm sorry, A through U. I'm thinking of my next one. One I have before.
So the applicant is not here?
Applicant does not appear to be here.
Okay.
Or about online.
Commissioners, any questions? Mr. Manuel?
I have no question.
Ms. Ragsdale?
I just want to check, I know that we're looking, and we always look at the housing, and then if we look at, I'm just hoping somewhere along the line soon there would be some type of shopping there, because Tartesso has none. I don't think Festival has very much, if any. And now there's going to be this. Will there be areas for shopping?
The chair, commissioners, so I know right now in Festival, they should be getting a grocery store soon. I think that one's in the works, just so you guys know. But in Village 3, just to the south, they have commercial land or mixed use that's approved. So as this gets going, since the zoning's already there, they should be able to come in just through site plan. Be able to get done pretty quick.
Just to add, obviously, the city would love for commercial to be built at all these communities. It's purely market-driven, why the developers haven't done that yet. They just don't feel like there's enough rooftops to support it at this point. So with each new residential development like this that we approve, those chances should go up. Those numbers, demographic numbers should go up.
Thank you.
Ms. Cupsack?
No questions. It looks great. Thanks.
Mr. Damasio?
No question, sir.
Mr. Bassler?
No questions. It looks very well thought out.
Can you bring up the site plan again? I just got a question. Yeah, that one works. So Village 3 is to the south, and that's currently grading, you said? Okay, so those two exit points to the south, once the residents start going in, they'll be available for like a loop traffic back out to Sun Valley Parkway. I just hate the idea of creating a cul-de-sac, because I live in one. World's largest cul-de-sac.
Mayor Commissioner, yes, it will end up creating a loop through. And
Okay.
we do have John available for any other more intense traffic questions you may have.
The idea of creating a cul-de-sac, I don't want that. So we just need a loop so people have more than one way to get out of there besides that one entrance to Sun Valley Parkway. Thank you.
I have nothing further to say. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion that we approve preliminary plat PLZS-23-00028, subject to conditions A through U.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Stay there, don't move, Jen. Regular agenda item 4C, Sundance Apartments, site plan, public presentation by Jennifer Roseman. Planner 2.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair, members of the Commission. Again, my name is Jennifer Roseman. I'll be presenting tonight's item 4C, which is the site plan for Sundance Apartments. The applicant is John Stafford with Harris, Kosher, and Smith, who is representing the property owner Sola Communities, LLC, who is a subsidiary of Carlton Bear Capital. This site is approximately 19.67 gross acres located east of the southeast corner of Yuma and Apache Roads. This is a site plan request for a garden-style multifamily residential development containing 296 units with an overall density of 14.94 dwelling units per acre. Again, the subject site is located east of the southeast corner of Yuma and Apache Roads. Surrounding the site is Acacia Crossing subdivision to the north, which is an existing single-family development. Desert Moon Estates is located to the south and east. It is currently still in development. And a vacant parcel to the west, which does have a site plan in for review right now for a multifamily residential development. Subject site is zoned commercial center, which does allow for multifamily residential with the density less than 15 dwelling units per acre, which the proposed site plan is in conformance with. The applicant is proposing a traditional garden-style gated multifamily rental community that includes 116 one-bedroom units, 146 two-bedroom units, and 32 three-bedroom units. All of these units are within 8 three-story buildings and 14 two-story buildings. And that is a correction from the staff report, which stated 15 three-story buildings and only 7 two-story buildings. So we actually do have more buildings less in height than we do the three-story. The three-story buildings are 40 feet in height and located internally to the site and along the northern perimeter adjacent to Yuma Road. Two-story buildings are 30 feet in height. 13 of the 14 two-story buildings have garages located on the first floor. Two-story buildings placed along the eastern and the western boundaries are considered carriage units, as the entire first floor are garages and are placed, and these are placed in these locations due to the limited height and to minimize windows on the rear of the buildings, which was done intentionally to help buffer the use from the adjacent neighbors. The multifamily, a 10-foot landscape buffer has also been provided along the western boundary where the future multifamily may be. And a 20-foot landscape buffer is provided along the eastern boundary, which is to further minimize the impact on the surrounding current and future residents. Along their southern boundary, where there is single family as well, a retention basin has been placed there, which creates a substantial buffer for the residents, as the closest building is over 200 feet away. In terms of parking, the development code requires 492 parking spaces, which is what the applicant is proposing. This includes 202 covered parking spaces, 152 uncovered parking spaces, and 127 garage spaces and 1 loading space. For landscaping, the development is required to have 30%, and the applicant is providing approximately 35%, which is 6.84 acres. Most of the active amenities are positioned in the center of the development and enclosed by a majority of the buildings so that all the residents would have easy access to them, but also to minimize light and noise impacts to the Desert Moon Estate residents to the east and south. Proposed amenities for this development include a walking path surrounding the retention area, real and artificial turf areas, a dog park, a pool and spa, a clubhouse with an outdoor kitchen, a fitness center, multiple barbecue areas, a fire pit, shaded picnic areas, a sports court, a playground, and lawn games. Here are some of the amenity details to include the playground equipment, benches, the fire pit, shade trellis at the game lawn, pool enclosure wall, the entertainment wall, and also the entry monument sign, which does include a radial vine trellis, and one of the stipulations is that they have to keep a live plant growing. The development features a modern architectural style with clean lines, varied roof lines, a mix of materials to include stucco, masonry, veneer, and wood-like accents. Color palette features neutral earth tones with contrasting elements to enhance visual appeal while maintaining harmony with the surrounding single-family homes. To ensure a cohesive streetscape along Yuma Road, the stairwells will be discreetly screened from public view using architecturally integrated elements such as metal mesh. For enhanced privacy, as I stated earlier, the carriage buildings are designed without rear-facing balconies and feature minimal windows, reducing visibility for neighboring residents. The site's primary and sole access point is from Yuma Road. Vehicles exiting the development will be limited to right turns only, while entry into the site will accommodate both right and left turns. A secondary access is required for emergency purposes and is provided at the southwest corner of the development, extending across the adjacent property to the west and connecting to Apache Road. A recorded ingress-egress easement is already established to accommodate this access. So that's regardless of any development that goes in there. That access road will be there. The site is located within the City of Buckeye sewer and water service areas. There are sewer capacity issues that are existing, and through a sewer analysis done by the applicant, a capacity constraint has been identified that will affect approximately 1,211 linear feet of pipe. As a result, the developer will contribute a fair share of the cost needed to upgrade this section of the sewer system. The off-site improvements will include the half-street construction of Yuma Road, along with the installation of a median from 241st Drive to the main entrance of the development. The development includes a single trash compactor area serving the entire community, but to accommodate the residents that don't live near the compactor, the applicant has committed to providing doorstep valet trash service twice a week, and this is again also a stipulation for the site plan. So doorstep valet trash service, the residents will be able just to stick their trash outside of their door twice a week on whatever the designated days are, and the staff will come by, pick it up, and take it to the trash compactor. Again, in February 2024, the code was amended to eliminate notice requirements for site plan applications. However, because the applicant submitted prior to the approval of the code amendment, the applicant was required to provide notice to everyone within 300 feet of the subject site and did so on November 19, 2023. 2 residents from Desert Moon Estates did call and inquire about the project, wanting to know if it was allowed per the zoning and how far the nearest building was from their homes, privacy, all the same concerns residents have living next to multifamily. One of the residents did state, though, that their frustration with the development came from their builder, who stated that single-family residential homes were planned for that property in the future, fortunately. So the proposed site plan is in conformance with the general plan, zoning, and Buckeye Development Code. There are no outstanding issues with other reviewing departments, to include engineering, fire, public works, community services, police, water resources. The development does represent an overall improvement to the city of Buckeye. And our request for you this evening is to approve item 4C, subject to conditions A through L. Sorry, it wasn't in. Staff is available for questions, and applicant for? I'm not seeing applicant for him either, so no, I think I'm the only person here to answer questions on this.
Starting with Ashton.
I'm gonna steal the chair's thunder. Is there elevators? No. It looks good. I got no question. Thank you.
I am very concerned about this project. It's another multifamily residential area asked to be approved, where everything that is here is going to dump out onto Yuma, and it looks like they could only go east on Yuma. And the intersection of Yuma and Watson is already overflowed with traffic. The backup to make a left-hand turn onto Yuma, going east, backs up well beyond the cutout area. And what this is going to do is just add more traffic on Yuma that is not prepared to handle the traffic that is there today. So I would like to know from the city traffic person, what provisions are being made? Yeah, he looked around, but he can't get away. What provisions are going to be made to try to handle the traffic, number one, which can only go east out of here? And how does that impact on the intersection of Watson and Yuma, given that we just put another large apartment complex behind Fry's, which is now starting to staff and adding more traffic to the corner of Watson and Yuma?
Chair, Commissioner Bassler, yes, we're very much aware the intersection of Yuma and Watson is busy. We are looking at that. We know we need to extend the existing eastbound left turn pocket. We have other improvements we're looking at to do in there. I wish I could sit here and tell you it's going to happen tomorrow, but it won't. It's a process to get it done. But we are looking at improving that intersection. We know it's capacity constrained. We're working on it. Just got to give me some time. That kind of addresses your concern. I know on that site plan, it shows
doesn't
emergency
address
access.
my concerns because it's already overloaded. And now we're going to put an apartment complex, which is going to put another 294 units, dumping more traffic on an already busy street. So my concern with this particular project is that Yuma is not prepared to take care of it. And looking at it down the road, that intersection can't get any bigger. It's as big as it can get unless you tear down some buildings. So I don't know how we're going to make a traffic flow here. So my concern here is adding more multifamily buildings that adds additional traffic to a road that is already overtaxed and cannot be made any bigger than what it is.
The intersection of Yuma and Watson can be made bigger. We have a concept to look at it to add dual eastbound, westbound lefts. It can be done without taking out any buildings. We have a concept we've already looked at. It's just taken me a while to get the funding set up and the implementation put in place to get the work done. We've looked at the intersection. Will adding the additional lanes make the intersection work perfect? I can't tell you that it will, but it will improve it, and it'll operate better when we get the improvements in place.
Okay.
I'm looking at it. It's just taking me a while to get it done as fast as I'd like.
Okay? It's a concern.
It's on my side as well, too. Yes, sir.
If this was a residential, you'd be putting 80 houses in there, not 294. So it's 80 homes and cars coming out onto Yuma versus 294. This is the district I represent. It is my concern in regards to the traffic flow that is going through here.
And then not to debate, but it was actually zoned commercial, so it wouldn't have been single-family homes. So it could have been a shopping center with just as much traffic as a multifamily complex. But I'm
Okay.
working on a solution. We'll get it done.
Okay?
Okay.
The other concern I have here is the neighborhood meeting. It said it was not required. That has been an issue for me on this council, and that just because there's still development right around it doesn't mean you can't go further and talk about people who are going to be impacted by this. You said meeting not required, and that's a disappointment. I think that needs to be looked at, and we need to find better ways to get in the involvement. Apparently, there were 2 people that found that it was going on, and they did voice their opinion, apparently to the negative. in
Chair,
regards to
Commissioner
this.
Basler, if I can interject, this is a standard city requirement. Cities typically don't require neighborhood meetings for entitled properties, in this case, that are already zoned for a particular use. The reason being is that people come opposed to the use, and quite frankly, that's not up for debate. The use is allowed. All we're trying to do is design the site in a way that minimizes impact. And unfortunately, a good portion of the community don't understand how zoning works and tries to fight the use at that stage. So we do hold mandatory neighborhood meetings for all of our public hearing processes, rezonings, general plan amendments, when the uses themselves are established on a property. But at this point, if you own the property, or if I own the property and I wanted to develop multifamily, it is a permitted use, and there's nothing that the neighborhood, unfortunately, can do to stop that.
Okay.
Mr. Massio.
No questions.
Ms. Cupsack.
I really like the garages underneath that. That's really nice, and that solves the parking 400 feet away and having to carry everything there. So I like that part. It looks like a very nice project.
Ms. Ragsdale.
So it does look like a nice project. Thank you.
Mr. Manuel.
I had a question about the valet trash. When they're sitting it outside, is there a bin, or are they just putting the plastic bag out there and allowing the dogs and cats to take care of it?
Chair, Commissioner, that is a great question. I don't know the answer to that, and unfortunately, my applicant isn't here, but I will find out and I will send you an email.
If they could do, I don't know, some kind of bin, or like Sun City
Makes
puts those
perfect
cans in
sense.
the ground so you can't see them, and maybe they could do that, I don't know.
Thank you. That is a great question.
And the other thing
Mhm.
would be for the traffic guy, but I was just wondering, could that intersection be re-engineered to turn left coming out, or maybe put something somewhere else so that they can turn left on Yuma?
Commissioner Chair, that we actually worked with the development to put their access point where it is, and it's actually an 1/8 mile from the signal that will eventually go in at Apache and Yuma.
I thought that.
We only allow a 3/4, which is a left in, not a left out. The challenge with full medium breaks is eventually you get enough traffic trying to make a left out, and then everybody wants a traffic signal. And we have to look at putting a traffic signal at the 1/8 mile, which really just starts to mess with traffic mobility up and down the corridor. So we purposely limited it so no lefts out, so they have to make the right. It does kind of create challenges where the only way they go left, but they want to go the other way, they have to go down and make a U-turn. We know that that's the result sometimes of a 3/4 only access, but it does work in the best interest of the whole corridor.
I figured you looked at it, I just wanted to
We did.
ask just to say something, I guess, I don't know. Thank you, that's all I had.
John, before you sit down, can you just real quickly, just very generically, discuss the amount of car ownership or trips per multifamily unit compared to maybe a single-family home? Because it isn't necessarily a one-to-one comparison, right?
That is correct. So typically, the rule of thumb we used to use is a single-family home generates 10 trips a day, or about 1 an hour. That's in the afternoon. A multifamily varies between 6 and 7 trips a day. A lot depends on what else is around it. So 100 homes would be 100 trips, but 100 apartments would only be 67 trips. Is that right? Yeah. So it's not quite a one-to-one. I mean, this size development, if it was single-family homes versus all apartments, I'll be honest, there'll be slightly more trips with the apartment complex than it was as all homes. Like Ken kind of mentioned, it was commercial, or zone commercial. Commercial center probably would have generated more trips as a commercial center than as an apartment complex or multifamily on unit. Anything else?
Mr. Willett, thank you.
I'm gladly here to answer another question, but only one more for the day.
Jennifer, I have a question regarding the trash. I won't even talk about the elevators not being in there. Is that agreement, is that for life of the building? Or is that just?
Will run with the life of any apartment complex being run by whomever at that development.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, if all hearts and minds are clear, can I have a motion?
I make the motion to approve Site Plan PLZSP-23-000024, subject to conditions A through LL.
Can I have a second?
Second it.
It has been moved and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. We are now on to regular agenda item 4D, the mix on Roosevelt Commercial Center site plan. Mr. Ken Galika, planning manager.
Chair, members of the commission, good to be before you tonight, and it just dawned on me that this is an interesting agenda tonight, because we have 4 different projects of 4 different types. It's not 4 industrial projects or 4, we have a multi-story, multifamily, the last item, we have a single-story kind of built to rent, we have a traditional single-family community in Florio, and this one tonight is the site plan for a commercial project. So really, I think it shows that we are getting a balance of development, so that's kind of cool. This project, you may remember from its rezoning application that came through, I believe, to the commission back in November. The rezoning actually involves the full property, which extends down to Fillmore Street. But you can see in your aerial photograph here, tonight we're dealing just with the commercial portion, which is 12.75 acres. The mix on Roosevelt PAD did establish commercial uses and design requirements for this parcel of land, and it is located within the Landing Activity Center, or what our general plan calls the Gateway Activity Center, but we've retermed the Landing. So that area is envisioned, again, for a vibrant mix of uses, both residential and commercial, and this is certainly a step in the right direction. I'll explain what we're doing here in just a second. So again, the site located directly at the southeast corner of Roosevelt and Verrado. Just to orient you, to the north is the Gateway Commons East Shopping Center with the Costco. Located west across Verrado Way is a new retail center called Roosevelt Commons that's under construction. To the south is the future multifamily, and then to the east is the Summit Church. So this proposal is for a commercial shopping center featuring 5 retail and restaurant buildings highlighted in red on your screen, totaling 48,551 square feet. And also 4 future building pads anticipated to be developed with an additional almost 52,000 square feet. Those future site plans, consistent with this master site plan, will be administrative reviews. We'll make sure that the buildings are consistent looking in appearance with what we'll show you tonight for the first phase. Ultimately, we're just talking a little bit over 100,000 square feet at ultimate build out. The uses for these buildings, all are per the mix at Roosevelt PAD, which is a customized use list. We eliminated some of the uses that we don't want to see, maybe that are less intense, mini storage, those types of things wouldn't be allowed. So you're really looking at vibrant retail, restaurant, entertainment types of uses here. The only building that is identified for a very specific use at this point in time is this one here where my mouse is hovering. That is identified as a grocer. And I got permission tonight to actually share that will be a Sprouts. So that's one of the users that the city, that we hear from our residents quite a bit that they'd like to see. So hopefully that announcement makes some folks happy. The site does feature 4 points of ingress and egress. I should talk first about the parking spaces. It is overparked compared to what our zoning ordinance requires. So 560 spaces are provided, 405 are required. So if in the future we get more restaurants, say, than what was originally anticipated, there should be plenty of parking for that. There are, again, 4 points of ingress and egress to the site, 2 off of Verrado Way and 2 off of Roosevelt Street. And I'll just kind of work my way around clockwise, starting down here in the lower left at the southwest corner of the site. That is a three-way access, so that's a left in, right in, and a right out. The driveway just to the north of that is a right in, right out, so no left movements there. This initial or westernmost Roosevelt Street entrance is right in, right out, and then the full access is proposed at the eastern drive off of Roosevelt Street. That'll be left in, left out, and right out. So all four of your movements are proposed, and there is a future signal that is planned at that intersection. The developer will construct all the adjacent half-street improvements adjacent to the site. I got screwed up with my formatting. From a pedestrian standpoint, that's just as important to us as the vehicular connectivity. And there is a very comprehensive network provided. There are public sidewalks provided adjacent to Verrado Way and Roosevelt Street, the full length of the project. You can see in this orange color. On-site sidewalk system shown in yellow connects not only the buildings to one another, but also traverses through the parking lot in areas that are separated from where the cars are, for the most part. Obviously, it has to cross at certain points, and we use decorative pavement in those cases. But the thing I really wanted to point out was the planned residential connections. Those are shown in green to that future PROS residential project. So the residents in that future community will have not one, not two, but three different opportunities to go from their apartment to the restaurant or the grocery store or whatever they're looking to access in the site. 20.1% of the site is landscaped area that meets the requirements for the commercial side of this PAD. That includes 281 trees and a little over 1,400 shrubs and accents, all of which are drought tolerant. The landscaping serves multiple purposes. Of course, enhancing the aesthetics and placemaking at focal points. One example is the hard corner of Roosevelt Street and Verrado, where the two buildings there will create an outdoor courtyard, a dining area, and will be accentuated by some signature landscaping. Of course, parking lot shading gives people an opportunity to maybe get a little bit of a break in the summer. And then shading along that pedestrian network, you can see the separated sidewalk running in a median with landscaping that will keep those pedestrians a little bit cooler. And lastly, when the future residential is built to the south, serving as a screen and buffer to the loading and service areas of the commercial buildings. Architecturally speaking, this is maybe my favorite project that I've seen since I've come to Buckeye. I really, really like these building elevations. It's contemporary, which is befitting of the landing. It's kind of the architectural style that the city has identified for everything in that Verrado corridor south of I-10. It is an earth tone palette, but it does have a real cool pop, in my opinion, cool pop of color and using some aqua for some accentuation, as you can see on the shops building here to the north, and also the grocery for that entry. So it's a very kind of sophisticated appearance, but just with a little bit of fun, or as Sean would say, whimsy and folly. There are multiple materials and textures that are incorporated, several different types of metal for accents, 2 different types of CMU block, and I really like how the architect, Ben, who's here tonight, has used materials in a maybe non-traditional fashion. We have certain wall sections that have ephes above block as opposed to just entire sections. This section's ephes and then this section is block. So it's a very good design, I think, that will present well to all visitors to the center. Massing, you can see both in terms of recesses and projections in the buildings, as well as vertical movement in the roof line provided throughout. We have not received any public feedback on this site plan. We didn't receive any either when we went through the more extensive rezoning process, so there hasn't been any sort of concerns raised. The site plan does, in staff's view, conform to the general plan, furthers our objectives for the landing to create a real vibrant activity center. It does conform, as I mentioned, to the mix at Roosevelt PAD. Our opinion achieves the desired urban aesthetic and active edge along Verrado Way in particular, but also Roosevelt Street. We feel it is an example of exceptional architecture as well as landscape design, and it features really strong connectivity, both vehicular and pedestrian. All the utilities will be city-served. Developer will be responsible for any improvements to those systems needed to support this development, as well as their adjacent half-street improvements. And this has been given the okay by all reviewing departments. So with that, Chair, members of the commission, we do recommend approval of this site plan tonight, subject to conditions A through FF. And I did want to note this asterisk here. Some reason when the staff report got converted to PDF, in a couple instances it changed the letters TI to a question mark. So, for instance, deceleration was converted to so we did want to note that we do have the correct formatted version separate, and I think we're all in agreement that it was not intended to have those question marks. So with that, Chair, I'm happy to answer any questions. Also, Carolyn Oberholzer and her team with the developer are here tonight. If you have any questions, they don't have any prepared remarks tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Kalika. Commissioners, any questions? Mr. Manuel.
I do like the looks of that, and it's kind of exciting about Sprouts coming in. I know social media is just full of people begging for it. My only concern, I guess, is Verrado. As of today, it backs up from the freeway to almost Roosevelt now, especially if you're trying to go east on Interstate 10. We need to do something about these streets around here, especially those that are going to the freeway, because I suppose the on-ramp is not our problem, right? It's a DOT or ADOT.
It is, and it is not. It is something we plan on addressing, and John can probably talk about it a little bit more.
Hopefully it's a time frame that we can speed up, because it's already bad there.
Yes, Chair, Commissioner, exactly what you said. The on-ramp is not the city's responsibility, but we are working with ADOT on a solution. The primary challenge on that on-ramp in the morning, if you pay attention, people are trying to get on the on-ramp, but they can't get on the freeway. The freeway's backed up. So we're working with ADOT to add a fourth lane on I-10 from Verrado all the way to 303, where it connects to the other multiple lanes. We have a strong feeling about adding that fourth lane. The on-ramp will be able to flush onto the freeway a lot easier and improve the ability for the northbound right turn on Verrado to get on the freeway and go east. That's a high movement right now. We do have long-term plans to upgrade that interchange. We know it needs to be done by the time everything's built in this whole corridor. We know it needs to be happening. And we're also working with ADOT on how to get that process started. ADOT is just unfortunately a process, and it takes a while. They have steps you have to go through, and we're going to make sure we follow them all the way through.
All right, thank you. I just hope we can expedite it a little bit, maybe.
I'm trying everything I can on that one as well. So.
Might as well stay up here.
Yes, Ms. Ragsdale.
I have mentioned this before, and I'll mention it again. It would be really, really nice when you start building that to put a sign up as to what's coming. They did that on the 303 by the Costco there, and it was so nice. You knew what was coming, and you could anticipate shopping there, and it was very nice. And that's the only place I've ever seen that, and that would be really nice. Thank you.
That would be nice, then everybody would stop calling me and asking me, what's going in on it?
I think Carolyn would want to say, But she doesn't want to walk up here because she's too modest or lazy, and one of the two. Mean that.
A lazy.
The lazy part. She said there is a sign on the property as of today that says Sprouts is coming. So I didn't notice it myself, but I'll have to take a look next time I drive by there.
Awesome.
Thank you.
John, my questions are for you. How close is that signal, the proposed signal, to the existing signal that's further down, that comes out of Summit and Costco?
Went to the nearest inch or approximate, I'm sorry, Chair Commissioner. It's about, I want to say it's close to 900 feet away. In that range, maybe 800, I don't remember the exact number.
Okay.
But we will work to make sure the signals work in conjunction together as much as possible, so you don't go through one
So it's a
and
little-
stop at the next
it's
one.
a little bit further than the eighth of a mile, or?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then my next question is the additional lane that you're talking about from Verado to Citrus, is that on top of the vehicle lane that the bill that's running through the legislature right now that will go from Citrus to 85?
It is a quick push to get that fourth lane in today.
Okay.
As opposed to waiting. The project she's talking about, Buckeye had a legislative allocation to add the fourth lane on I-10 from Loop 303 to SR 85. However, that was pushed out several years. When I say several years, probably 27, 28 before it gets built. We have begged, pleaded, got MAG to confirm, MAG provides the money for the freeway construction, to restripe I-10 between Verado and the Loop 303 because the pavement's mostly there. It's just a striping exercise.
Okay.
We could alleviate the congestion hypothetically tomorrow as opposed to many, many moons down the road.
Okay. 'Cause I signed in to support the added vehicle lane, to get that back sooner.
It's not going away, it's just, this is an early phase.
Okay.
To get something out there sooner rather than a long time later.
Okay. Those were my only questions. Thank you. It looks very nice.
Won't go
Good
far.
job. Don't go away, because they're,
Massio.
I'll give you a reprieve. No questions.
Vassler.
No questions on the project. I think it looks great. I too am concerned with the traffic trying to get up, going north on Verado and onto Highway 10. If you're coming south on Verado, there's 2 lanes to make a left-hand turn to get onto Highway 10 to go east. But if there's any possible way to add 2 lanes going north and making a right-hand turn on there would be beneficial. I have waited in line, and once I've gotten on the highway, it has not been backed up. So it has been the traffic waiting to get onto 10 at that light. So just a thought. We got a long ways to go to try to clean that up.
Chair Commissioner, yeah, we've looked at several different concepts of how to make that work. I just really need to sit down with ADOT and say, what can we do? Our only challenge is if we go to ADOT, they're gonna say, that's fine, John, where's your checkbook? You're paying for it. And it's frustrating for me, it's like, it's your interchange. They keep asking me, where's your checkbook? So that's another challenge. But we have some concepts that I think are pretty cool and unique. I just gotta see if I can get them through, how we can put that in that second northbound right turn lane in. I think it's doable, we just gotta figure out how to do it.
Roundabouts.
Yeah, because, I mean, we're just getting started with the traffic on
I
Verado.
agree, yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming in up and down Verado. It's just gonna be busier.
Okay, thank you.
Sebastian.
Sit down. What's the timeline? Because I see there's some payment on Roosevelt going eastbound. What's the timeline to get it all the way to Jackrabbit?
Chair, Commissioner, I honestly don't know. People told me that, hey, it's partially paved. And I'm like, what? I just need to drive over there and see where it is. The goal is to have that fairly soon and then get the traffic signal in at Roosevelt and Jackrabbit. I will find out the timing and get it funneled to you all.
Yeah.
I just don't know exactly when that is. We envision that would help part of the northbound Verado, because a lot of the people that are coming to the Costco are from the east.
Yep.
And this way they could go out Roosevelt to Jackrabbit and up. So
Unfortunately, it's one lane each direction right now, but
It's supposed to be, what's been installed is supposed to be 1 lane westbound, 2 lanes eastbound.
Okay.
I need to go out there and find out. So I'll find out and go through Ken or somehow to get you all the information.
I've only seen the one lane, but it could be that too. The other question is, I know it's going to happen because it has to happen. Double left from Roosevelt to southbound Verado Way. What's the timing on that?
So that is tied to this project. For those of you who aren't familiar, when that interchange was originally constructed, it was only single left eastbound and westbound. With the Abrazo complex coming in, we needed dual eastbound left to go towards the freeway. So if you pay attention in Roosevelt and you drive up and you're in this the rightmost left turn lane, you're actually looking at another through lane going east towards Summit. That whole south side curb has to shift down about 12 feet. The median has to shift down about 12 feet. Then the dual lanes will go in. So it's all
Okay.
part of the off-site improvements associated with the commercial piece.
So it isn't just a matter of striping, it's,
It's not a striping, it's a reconstruction.
okay. And I know there was talk about the intersection right there where there's a stop sign now, right next to Summit Church. There's the stop sign. I thought there was going to be a redesign of that intersection, or is that?
So the signal that Ken talked about, that is, if you're driving on Roosevelt, that's the left turn only into Costco before the signal. That's the full median break now. There was at one point a concept of a roundabout. That was taken quite far and just fell apart.
Okay.
Now it's going to be a full access median with this, or full median break with the traffic signal.
Okay, thank you for that. And I just want to say, I'm glad Sprouts is coming in. We need a little bit more variety in the area. I know some people would like the TJ place to come in there, but we'll take what we can. So, like some of our commissioners said, it'd be nice to know what else is going in there because there's tons of questions. So I know this is just new, but there are other developers that have put out what is going on in their corners. So just knowing what's going on in that corner would probably help a lot of the residents and make them have a good feeling. Thank you.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the site plan PLZ SP-24-0022 with subject conditions A through FF.
Have a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Willett, I love you. You make these things so much fun. Now we're down to comments from the public. Having any? Thank you, Ms. Hernandez. Item number 5. That was item number 5. Yes, we have the planning manager's report and summary of current events.
Yes, very short tonight. Thank you again for another good meeting, good discussion on projects. We will have a meeting next scheduled meeting, which is the 25th, I believe, of February. So plan on another meeting that night. Probably not at that meeting, but in a meeting soon, we will be having a presentation, kind of discussion on the Planning and Zoning Commission bylaws, see if there's any opportunities to make things more efficient or however better for the commission. So coming soon to a council chambers near you. Yeah, we can take it offline. We're not allowed to do questions during this period. Thank you.
All right. Commission, do we have any summary of current events?
We got that airfare this weekend. It's, last year I went, and I bought a VIP ticket, and it was the best thing I ever did. And that nighttime thing, if you didn't see it, they're going to do something similar, I guess, this year on Saturday. You've got to see it. It's amazing. Fireworks coming out of the plane wings and everything else. It was cool. But that's it.
Thank you. Ms. Ragsdale?
Nothing, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Cupsack?
Go to the airfair, come to the beer booth and buy beer from me. So I'll be selling beer for Buffalo Rotary, so, in the VIP area.
Discount?
Thank you. Mr. Basile, nothing. Mr. Bassler?
No comments.
Sebastian?
I just want to say, that, like everyone, there are people in, the airfare is great. If you haven't been there, go there. It's well worth it.
Thank you. And on that note, go to the airfair. It's great. Good night, everybody.